Expectations on the rise for the South Carolina Gamecocks after a strong finish of the 2021 season. Dateline Charlotte, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Jaheim Bell goes off for a $159 and 2 touchdowns, career highs, as South Carolina steamrolls the Tar Heels of North Carolina out of the ACC. Big performance for Juju McDowell and for head coach Shane Beamer. A strong finish in year number 1, a 7-6 record. The Mayo bath to boot. And 107 days later, Carolina back on the field tonight. And the Gamecocks are in the house, as is Spencer Rattler. Stay tuned, his debut coming up just minutes from now, the Oklahoma transfer. As we welcome you to Williams-Brice Stadium, the South Carolina spring game. It is the Garnet versus the Black, once again here in the Midlands. Great to have you with us alongside Hudson Mason. I am Roy Philpott. Ryan McGee joins us on the sidelines in just 1 minute. Year 1 in the books for Shane Beamer. Very successful, and obviously a lot of momentum for this program headed to the start of 2022.
It was a really good year 1 for Shane Beamer, and specifically the last month of the schedule. They beat Auburn, they beat Florida, they beat North Carolina in the Mayo Bowl. I still think Shane Beamer's concussed from that Mayo bath, but it's all good because expectations, confidence, energy, all of it is an all-time high for Shane Beamer in year 2.
Yeah, and year 2 begins with Spencer Rattler, the transfer quarterback, the former #1 dual-threat quarterback in the country, according to ESPN. Won a Big 12 championship at Oklahoma. He's now in Columbia. He's got something to prove.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler was and is the crown jewel of this year's transfer portal class. What are you getting out of Spencer Rattler? Folks, the ceiling is first-round draft pick in the NFL, Heisman-type player and contender. He is elite in a lot of different areas. He's 15-2 as a starter. He's a winner, and he's going to make this team better. It's the most important position in all of sports, but more importantly, it's the most important position in football. And when you get a guy like Spencer Rattler, watch out, because the ceiling and the roof can be raised and raised quickly.
Accurate passer. He's completed over 70% of his passes in his college career, now playing here at South Carolina. It doesn't stop there. You look in the backfield for the Gamecocks this season. Christian Beal-Smith checks in, transfer out of Wake Forest. All he did there was rush for about 1,800 yards in 4 seasons and 43 starts.
Yeah, again, another add through the portal that Shane Beamer went out and got, and they needed some depth at that position behind Marshawn Lloyd, and I think he's going to complement this run game for South Carolina this year. He's a little bit of a different back than Marshawn Lloyd. A little bigger, a little stronger. He's a former team captain. You like what he brings on the field and off the field. Very strong in his lower body. But this is a rushing attack that struggled last year for many reasons. But now the 1-2 punch of Marshawn Lloyd and Christian Beal-Smith. Watch out. There should be a lot to be encouraged about the run game in 2022.
Well, we had great conversations this week with both coordinators, with Shane Beamer and Spencer Rattler himself. But talking to Coach Beamer, the seniors came to him in the middle of the offseason and said, you know what, 7-6 was a great start. This is where we want to be to begin, but we're nowhere near finished at this point in time. And that really is being a rallying cry for this program entering this spring game tonight.
It is. That's what spring's all about, is that new group of guys, and kind of mentally figuring out who's going to be the new team leaders. And hopefully we'll see it on the stage tonight.
We check in for the first time with Ryan McGee. You're on the sideline. Looks like a great turnout. The atmosphere, as expected, year 2 under Shane Beamer. Off to a great start this evening, Ryan.
So Shane Beamer, right, we're going to do an interview. He ran right past us because there was an alumni touch football game before this, and he wanted to make sure that his team now spent time with the greats of Gamecock football of the past, and that's why he ran past us and led his team directly to that end zone. Guys, you know this. There's a vibe in this city right now between women's basketball, college baseball, everything that's happening, and this football team is the anchor of that, and you can feel it when you talk to Shane Beamer, and I'm anxious to talk to him about that when we do chat with him a little bit later.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for that. The one word we heard over and over yesterday inside the main football headquarters here, right behind Williams-Brice Stadium. Coach Beamer with the energy. Coach Beamer so genuine. It's not an act, and that's the new brand of this football team.
There's no doubt about it. You talk to the players, and that's the one word they rave about. Genuine. Unassuming is Shane Beamer. And players want to play for people, and coaches that they love putting it on the line for. It's very easy to meet Shane Beamer and see, man, his players, why they want to play and love playing for him.
Well, just about set, ready to go. The rules for tonight's contest look like this. A couple of 12-minute quarters to start our first half. The second half, it'll be a lot faster. All quarterbacks are live, with the exception, of course, Spencer Rattler and Luke Doty, who's now healthy. That's good news for Carolina fans as well. You actually talked to Spencer yesterday, right as he exited our meeting. You kind of joked with him, hey, by the way, you're going to be live, and he kind of looked at you for a moment, didn't he?
He's like, you know something, I don't know. I was just messing with it, because we will see some of the quarterbacks, some of the younger quarterbacks live tonight, which is good. I'm actually a fan of that, because some of the younger quarterbacks, Braden Davis, they were recruited because of their legs, and you can really kind of show in the evaluation process what you bring to the table through that.
For a transfer quarterback like Spencer, a spring game, you know he's going to be amped up.
Yeah.
Put yourself in his shoes, going back to your days at Georgia. What's he thinking about? What's important for him right now?
This is his first opportunity, and the fan base's first opportunity to wrap their arms around him start to get a feel for 14 practices in spring, the chemistry that he's building with his players, the continuity. And if there's one word he reiterated to us in meeting with them, he's refreshed. He's rejuvenated, and he's ready to go.
Sandstorm blaring in the background. White team has the football first. Christian Beal-Smith in the backfield behind Rattler. The first pass is caught, and for a short gain up to the 28 goes Juice Wells. Antoine Wells, a transfer from James Madison. We asked Spencer yesterday, who do you have the closest relationship with on the field so far? He said it's number 3 in white tonight.
Yeah, they went out to James Madison and found Antoine Wells, who had a stellar career at James Madison. He transfers up and brings a lot of really good traits from a pass-catching standpoint. Very soft hands. Shane Beamer told us he'll love a lot of the different routes that he can run in the route tree.
FCS All-American a season ago. There's pressure. Rattler gets rid of it, and behind Wells on the quick slant.
See a blitz here early on. We were meeting with defensive coordinator yesterday, Clayton White, and I said, you're going to be able to blitz, right? Because in spring games, typically the rules are, the gentleman's agreement is, right, we're going to stay vanilla. We're not going to blitz. Here we are early on. He goes away from that and brings a blitz up the middle. If there's one thing watching the tape from Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma last year, they didn't protect him very well. Constantly having to leave the pocket, throw off his back foot, and I think South Carolina fan Shane Beamer really excited about what the 5-6 returning starters can do to protect him up front.
On third down, Rattler will be on a pitch count tonight. We're not going to see him for 5 or 6 series. Off the back foot, pass is caught, and the quick completion out to Christian Beal-Smith. And Ryan McGee has Coach Beamer on the sidelines. He'll track him down as we check in.
He's a little energetic right now, y'all. Hey, Coach, I don't know if you heard, there's a new quarterback in Columbia. Somebody might have asked you about that. What are you looking for out here tonight?
Just watching him operate, being able to make plays for one, but just manage getting in and out of the huddle, playing in front of a crowd. 3 and out there to start the game right there wasn't exactly what we wanted, but he's excited and he's had a great spring. I'm looking forward to watching him play tonight.
And how about the team as a whole? Listen, I'm a sports writer. We make way too much of the spring game, right? But what are you looking for tonight?
One, just watching us compete. So the last thing we talked about in the locker room was just compete. And we talk about all the time in this program is competition and watching our guys compete, obviously stay healthy. But we've had a great spring, 14 awesome practices, and expect tonight to be a great one as well. Come on, Ryan, run with me.
All right, here we go. And guys, good news. He does not still smell like mayonnaise. I was worried about that.
Bad news is he's asking you to run.
Right.
Luke Doty on the field. They'll fake the handoff to Lloyd. Pass in the flats is caught. And twisting and turning is Chad Terrell, a 6-year senior out of Mississippi with the grab. And close to first down yardage. Now Luke Doty now healthy, the junior out of Myrtle Beach. That's certainly good news. Also a dual threat standout going back to his original recruitment. And now 2 seasons in here in Columbia. Can do a number of different things this season, settling into that backup role, and that's one that Marcus Satterfield, the offensive play caller, told us he has felt very comfortable with. His first chance to really learn, be comfortable in this offense. Josh Vann with a grab and stopped at the 44, Hudson.
Yeah, how big was it for them to get Josh Vann back? There was some thought that he may put his name in the NFL draft and leave early, but he decides to come back, and he led the team last year in receptions and touchdown catches. I mean, if this passing attack with Spencer Rattler is really going to take that next step, Josh Vann is going to have to be the leader of that room, much like he was last year.
offensive MVP after a gain of 8. Just underway here in the Garnet and Black spring game in Columbia. And a punishing finish yields a first down.
6 plays in, we finally get a run. That's the funny part about spring football, right? There's always a theme, and the theme is what do you kind of want to showcase? Typically, you end up throwing the ball a lot more. Fans want to see you air it out. You got this beautiful, big new quarterback in Spencer Rattler, but even Luke Doty, as you mentioned, a guy who is probably as healthy as he's ever been, but finally he's getting to learn the quarterback position.
Marshawn Lloyd picking up the first down, and from the 47, Black team moving right to left, and Lloyd again a deep handoff. Hey Ryan, the atmosphere down there, coach has got to be pleased with. It looks like we got a good crowd on hand.
No, and in fact that's the first thing that Coach Beamer said to me. I said, what about this energy? And Coach, you knew there would be some energy, but this week I've never seen a week like this at Columbia. This is kind of the icing on the cake for a phenomenal week of energy right now.
It's been amazing. You start with Wednesday night and the victory parade for Coach Staley and our women's basketball team winning the national championship. It's been a great weekend for Carolina athletics, and then to be able to do this on a Saturday night, I knew it would be a great crowd and a lot of energy. But man, we had a pregame walking over here from our football facility. That pregame walk for a spring game. Right there, 45. That pregame walk we had for a spring game. There's a lot of colleges that would kill to have a walk like that for a regular season game. You've been around here long enough, Gamecock Nation. You know this, Ryan. It's unbelievable, and so thankful for them coming out here tonight.
I don't care who you are, 2001, still 2001. And by the way, folks at home, we're just checking your surround sound with that whistle blow right there. I just want to make sure it's working for you.
It's working well up here. Third down the long coming up. Ryan McGee with Coach down on the sideline. Hudson Mason, Roy Philpott up here in the booth, just underway in our first quarter. Now our first opportunity to see Luke Doty perhaps down the field. He'll empty the backfield with Lloyd. Bottom of your screen now. And the screen pass. Nifty move. Omega Blake, he is alpha and omega, and he picks up nice yardage to make it 4th and short. It's a gain of 10 on the play.
It's a spring game. You got to go for it on 4th down, right? The funny part about it is the head football coach, Shane Beamer, is also the head official tonight. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest because he's an offensive guy, but
the spin by Lloyd, and there he goes. That's first down yardage. Stopped at the 36. Well, so much was said when Lloyd first signed with the Gamecocks. He was injured. The ACL tear sat out that season. He came back last year. He looked pretty nifty there.
Yeah, it's his time. I think if there's one player outside of Spencer Rattler that this coaching staff is most excited to see, it's Marshawn Lloyd, a guy who's been on campus for a couple years now, has battled through injury. He was back last year, but never really 100%. Shane Beamer said it's his time. And if this rushing attack is really going to take that next step where they struggled last year, man, Marshawn Lloyd has got to be one of the guys, if not the biggest guy in that room.
Twitty and Lloyd in the backfield, flanking Luke Doty. And he'll fake the screen and take off and stop there. That's the one thing about spring ball. You get the early whistle. You don't want to see your top 2 quarterbacks injured.
No, definitely not. And a lot of people ask, well, what can you get out of a spring game? And ultimately, you want to get health out of the spring game. You want to walk away with really no severe injuries, which is why you see the first 2 quarterbacks in a green jersey. But, Luke's kind of one of those guys who, one of the top dual threat quarterbacks coming out in his class, he can absolutely, part of his game is making plays with his legs and turning something out of nothing into a positive play.
Shot Amos, the running back. He'll get the inside give. Stutter step and a jump cut yields 4, maybe 5 on second down. That'll bring up 3rd and medium. Sherrod Green, the veteran linebacker, on a pitch count tonight as well with the tackle. Ryan, Coach has got to like to see Luke Doty now healthy out there and looking pretty strong to start tonight, right?
Yeah, Coach, we were just talking about Luke Doty, and what a year last year. Just a roller coaster, physically, emotionally, everything. What's he been like this spring, handling everything that's happened around him and looking pretty good right now?
Yeah, he's such a great kid. I go back to the night he got hurt against Vanderbilt, Ryan, and I see him in the training room after the game, and he's in there trying to, cheer me up because I feel so bad for the guy. But he attacked his rehab, came back with a vengeance here this spring. First down. Nice job, O.
You're also the head official tonight. I know. Yeah. You got a lot going on. You got a lot going on.
But came back out here, and he's been been awesome. The fact that he's out here full speed tonight, running around, throwing, after just getting hurt last October for the second time is pretty awesome. And he's been great for Spencer Rattler, and Spencer Rattler's been great for Luke. I mean, Luke's still a young guy and hasn't played a ton of football here, but he's everything that's right about, Gamecock football.
I mentioned him officiating. Guys, my dad was an official in the Big East and the ACC. I'm not saying that Beamer's dad and my dad ever yelled at each other, but they totally did a couple times.
Incomplete across the middle. And that was looking for his tight end, Jesse Sanders. It'll bring up second down. Yeah, how about congratulations to Frank and Cheryl Beamer. They just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, which is just absolutely incredible.
It is, and we were talking about earlier just the coaching tree and the privilege that Shane Beamer has had to coach under some illustrious coaches. Obviously, his dad, College Football Hall of Famer. He was a graduate assistant under Philip Fulmer at Tennessee. Kirby Smart at Georgia, he was a tight ends coach. I'm probably missing another one out
Lincoln
there.
Riley at Oklahoma.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. I mean, the list is so long. He's learned from a bunch of really great ones.
Amos, deep handoff on 2nd and 10. He'll lose a couple, stacked up and driven down by B.J. Gibson.
I think the other thing, too, is my observation with Shane Beamer is like there's some guys that are just born to be head coaches. In our interaction with him, I get that from him. He is so unassuming. There are some guys just born to sit in that chair, and he's one of them. I can easily see how players want to play for him. And he's a great guy, great recruiter, and did incredible things in year one. I mean this by no disrespect, but I mean they really overachieved in year one, winning 7 games, and excited to see what they can do in year 2.
From 2 wins the previous campaign to 7 last year. On 3rd down and long, time for Doty, has a man and it's incomplete. Running open was Van on the out route, and he sailed the pass out of bounds. So on 4th down, let's see what happens with the pressure, or the coverage rather, by Marcellus Dial.
Yeah, you see some of that deep ball where you got to drive it over toward the sideline. Van was open, had enough cushion for that to be a completion, and the ball unfortunately just sails on Luke Doty. I think right there is an example of where you're looking for still the maturation process of Luke Doty as a passer, honing some of those mechanics and hitting open guys when they're open, but more importantly, being able to drive that ball on that deep out route.
So here's a question for the Gamecocks entering this season. Who replaces school's all-time leading scorer in Parker White? Mitch Jeter out as the stronger leg in the kicking competition. And he drills a field goal from 47 yards out on the left hash. 3-0 our score. 5 minutes, less than 5 to go here in our quick moving first quarter in Columbia. Now the Stars are out tonight in Columbia, South Carolina. Leah Boston and the national champion Gamecocks in the house. Deebo Samuel, one of the top players in the National Football League as we speak. The legend, Big George Rogers, the Heisman Trophy winner, also in attendance. And we just mentioned Frank Beamer, his wife Cheryl, celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary earlier this year. And of course, the parents of one, Shane Beamer, in attendance tonight as well.
How about the colors? Coach Beamer probably never really had to change his wardrobe, going from...
It's a little bit of a different shade.
Pretty close, though.
I think so. He's living the sweet life tonight, as you would expect and hope, right, in retirement. And what a great job he did at Virginia Tech. And by the way, most people probably have forgotten, his son Shane was a walk-on wide receiver in Blacksburg and a long snapper on the team that played Florida State in the 1999 National Championship. Second look at Spencer Rattler, and how about that dime drop into plus territory to Xavier Legette. He's had a tremendous spring according to the coaching staff, and he picks up 29 there.
Yeah, one of the guys that has absolutely popped this spring. He was just kind of a guy last year. He's really come on this spring. But how about the decision-making process there by Spencer Rattler? They're trying to take the shot over the top to Antwan Wells. He's double-teamed. Safety gets deep. He hangs there in the pocket and finds his extra receiver for a big gain. I think one of the things I love about Spencer Rattler, he probably doesn't get enough credit for it, is just his accuracy in tight pockets.
70% completion percentage over those 2 seasons at Oklahoma. Juju McDowell in the backfield and drops the swing pass out in the flats. You saw his throw motion watching him in pregame warm-ups. The delivery's pretty quick, right?
It's very quick. I would reference it like you ever watch an old school cowboy western movie with those cowboys and take that pistol out of that harness real quick draw McGraw. I mean, that's how quick his hands are. I mean, it's boom, boom, the ball's out. It's kind of like a second baseman or shortstop turning a double play, and you can't really teach that. You can't really coach that. You either kind of have it or you don't, and you'll see it a lot in the RPO game. His hands are just very quick.
Plenty of time in the pocket. And the dump off is there to Trey Atkins. Stopped at the 41. It'll be 3rd down and long there. Spencer's also added about 10 pounds of good weight since reporting to campus. And he told us a funny story yesterday. That SEC strength and conditioning program was kind of a night and day difference compared to what he was used to in the past.
It's kind of his welcome to the SEC moment. He shows up after kind of just working out on his own back in Arizona, and that was my first observation. He walks in the room and much thicker. He said he wanted to put on about another 10 to 12 pounds specifically to help him in his lower body get stronger, but he felt like he was too easily tackled at times last year.
Juju McDowell has the first down and a lot more. Spun out crossing the 30. And the drive continues. Tyrese Ross ushered him out of bounds.
You see the right side of that offensive line, who talk about high expectations. This offensive line returns 5, if not really 6 starters from last year. A lot of continuity and experience. And Juju McDowell, who's kind of fighting for that 3rd running back spot right now in the depth chart. Coaches love his speed. A bit small, but I think the big question for him is, can he be a 3-down back? Can he be reliable in predictable passing situations?
And we saw the depth chart on the old whiteboard and the facilities last night, and Coach Beamer said we got a lot of running backs. Rattler picks up 8, maybe 9 on the scramble as the pocket broke down.
Yeah, there you see the legs, and at times last year I didn't think Oklahoma really did a good enough job of trying to make his legs a part of the game plan, and I'm sure after talking with Marcus Satterfield, they're really going to try to utilize that this year, have some packages there with him and maybe to carry on Joyner. But he is absolutely somebody who, you're going to play 2 high safeties and have a light box and nothing's open. He can beat you with his legs.
And I'm glad you mentioned Joyner. He's not playing tonight, but he's a player that could be in multiple position rooms come the fall, not to mention all of these new transfers. Ryan, let's talk with Coach about all the new transfers on the roster. It seems like there's some good chemistry there, right?
Yeah, Coach, we were just talking about this. It's not just Spencer Rattler. There's so many new faces. Yeah. What's the challenge in this new era of transfer portal of getting everyone to fit in that locker room?
It is, because it's a short period of time, and it's your returning players embracing the new guys, and then it's the new guys coming in embracing the team aspect of it, because all these new guys that came in here, they all have individual goals as well. And we told them, you're not coming in here as independent contractors. The only way this thing's going to work is buy into the team part of it. And right there. Sorry about that.
No,
to buy into the team aspect of it. And, the reason we were able to have the success that we had last season was really because of how close we were as a team, and it's got to be that way this year as well.
Well, and you guys know this. You know what the key to chemistry is? Winning football games.
Hey.
So if they do that, I think it might fix some problems.
Zach Pickens applied the pressure, no doubt about it. 2nd down and long now for the white team, or the Garnet team, excuse me. Wearing the white jerseys. Garnet v. Black as time winds down in our quick first quarter. I love it when Shane pauses to make sure that he can get the whistle in and blow the play dead. Multitasking for a head coach. Rattler will keep it. And on the zone read ahead towards the 15, they'll blow it dead there. And that added weight really, he's hoping it benefits him in the run game. It gives him a little bit more cushion, obviously, in a physical conference like the Southeastern Conference, but he thinks that that's going to be a benefit for him later this fall.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you got to be able to take hits in this conference. These defensive linemen are grown men. You got to be durable, and your best ability is your availability, and obviously him getting stronger in his lower body plus breaking tackles will help him a lot this year.
3-0 our score. The black team over the Garnet 1 quarter in Columbia on a beautiful night for college football. Now the all-time leading scorer in the history of South Carolina football being recognized in between our first and second quarters. 360 points for Parker White. And a nice round of applause. The multitude of fans in attendance this evening in Columbia. And he won a lot of games for Carolina his last couple of years.
Old reliable himself, right? Parker White hit on about 90% of his kicks last year, all the kicks that the coach has charted. And there's, as a former quarterback myself, I can tell you, just whether you're a quarterback or not, having a kicker like Parker White, who pretty much, man, when you got inside to 30 was automatic. won many ball games that were decided by 3 points or less.
Ryan, I think that's a conversation for coach, and replacing Mr. Reliable in Parker White. That's something they're looking to do this spring.
Yeah, and in fact, very early in that first quarter, there was a kicking situation, and Shane Beamer said to me, man, we got to replace Parker White. I mean, I don't want to bring up a stressful situation here, but that is the all-time leading scorer in the history of the program. So what is the challenge, and how's that going?
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. I don't know if the general public realizes how talented Parker White was and all the stuff he did for us. He missed one kick all last season, so we've got a heck of a competition going on right now to replace him. But what a weapon Parker was, and so excited for his future as well.
All right, so speaking of competition, what are we looking at here? We got a kind of between quarter entertainment drill here.
Yep. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
Wheezy, let's go! Damn. Sorry. Oh, what we're waiting for. No, so we've been doing these special teams all year. So you are looking at the Goon Squad, members only, street runners,
nice,
and the certified Steppas, named after Justin Stepp. So each coach has a team that he's responsible for. It's all broke up. We've been doing these competitions every practice of spring. So this is our final team competition. So basically we're just simulating kickoff coverage versus kickoff return. Can you get the block or not? And then can you get off the block and make the tackle on the returner or not? So we grade every rep. It's either a win or a loss for each team.
So it looks fun, but there's some serious work going on right here.
There's some serious work. There's some serious physicality. I mean, this is when we do this on the practice field, there's a ton of energy. Every team has their own theme song. So the winner of the day, they get to play their song in the team meeting, and we recognize them the next day as well. And you get great work. You're just trying to make special teams fun during spring practice, and our guys have bought into it. And Pete Limbo, our special teams coordinator, does an awesome job, and this is just part of it.
All right, so as I'm looking over these special teams drills, I can see your dad sitting up there. So, listen, I know he doesn't get up in your business much. He wants you to take care of your own deal. But Beamer Ball, son. I saw some Beamer Ball T-shirts with the garnet earlier. All right, so how much pressure is there on you as a coach when it comes to taking care of your special teams business?
There's quite a bit. You know, I can't let him down from that standpoint. He's a great resource from a special teams standpoint. And it's funny. I tell the story after our first home game. We beat Eastern, first game ever for me as a head coach. We beat Eastern Illinois, and we're walking off the field. And as I walk off the field, the first time I see my dad after the game, he's over there in a deep conversation with Pete Limbo, our special teams coordinator. And it wasn't even like a congratulations on your first win. It was like, hey, bud. And then he just kept going and talking to Pete.
Yeah, we need to talk about a situation. Now, I can hear him doing it. But all I know is, guys, I'm looking at the box up there, and Coach Beamer, Frank Beamer, sat there the whole time. As soon as this started, he stood up. So that's all. I'm not saying there's extra pressure if you're the second generation of Beamer Ball, but yes, there is actually a lot of pressure.
Yeah, the lunch pail mentality coming down from Blacksburg. But Shane, we do want to ask you the kicking competition. We saw Mitch Jeter from 47 yards out. You got Alex Herrera. What's it look like this spring, Coach?
Yeah, we got a great competition going. Mitch and Alex have both had really good springs. Alex has made some big-time kicks in some of our scrimmages and practices and pressure situations, and Mitch has played a good amount of football for us here as well. We also have a transfer from Arizona State that's here right now but injured, Jack Luckhurst. You know, so we'll throw him into the competition in August and see who comes out. But we like our options there, and they've all two of those guys have had a really good spring, and confident that Jack will once he's healthy.
Coach, I'm curious in what ultimately will decide who wins that kicking job come the fall.
Really, it's the consistency. And they've been neck and neck throughout the spring. It's the consistency, and certainly it's how you handle pressure situations. And we've tried to put them in as many pressure situations in the spring as we could, and we will do it in the fall. And this is great, an environment like this tonight, because the next time we're in front of a crowd like this, we'll be playing for real in Williams-Brice Stadium against Georgia State. So to be able to get our kickers out here in some situations like this, I hope we convert every third down, but I'm not disappointed if it's a fourth down and we have
have to kick a field goal.
Coach, you talked to us yesterday about Xavier Legette and kind of what he's been able to do this spring. We saw a beautiful pass from Rattler for about 27 yards in that first quarter. What was your assessment the first part of the spring game so far?
Yeah, Xavier's fantastic. He's you look at him and he's put together, he's tough, he's physical. He just loves to compete. He loves football. He's a great practice player, and happy to see him. He's been invaluable to us this spring. He and Spencer have developed a great chemistry with each other, and he's had a really, really, really good spring, and excited to see that be rewarded tonight with some catches as well, hopefully.
All right, a timeout. We'll step aside. We'll take a quick break. Back with more with Coach Beamer here in Columbia. 1 quarter in the books for South Carolina's spring game, and back with much more after this. National champions in the house, fresh off the win against UConn in the national title game in Minneapolis, a game that Shane Beamer attended. He was up there at the Final Four. And head coach Dawn Staley claiming her second national championship here in Columbia, Hudson, in the last 5 years.
Yeah, what a successful program she has built, and absolutely turned the women's basketball team into a blue blood, and it was fun to see the run that they went on.
Ryan McGee has Coach Staley.
Okay, I just said, Coach, a friend of Marty McGee, by the way, Dawn Staley, but congratulations. I got to ask, the first question is, I saw the parade. Was that a Rolls, and did you get to keep it? Did you just ride that home?
Somebody, actually, my car dealer actually upgraded me for just a parade.
Well, tell me about the energy around here. I was just talking to Coach Beamer about it. I've been around this city my whole life. There's an energy in the city this week that I don't know that I've ever felt before. Do you feel that?
I do. I think everybody loves winners. I think South Carolina has been a place that has, tremendous fans, and they deserve some winning ways. And I know Coach Beamer's got the football team going. We're going to keep doing what we're doing in the women's basketball department. Lamont Paris is going to get basketball going again, men's basketball. Our women's sports have been doing it for a very long time, so we're going to keep doing it. But the energy that the fans put into us makes us play a little bit harder, a little bit better, and bring home a little more champions.
How'd that parade feel? I mean, the images were amazing.
I'm going to tell you, anytime that you can win a national championship and you can enjoy it by riding, we only went maybe less than a mile. The piles of people that were willing to risk it all to jump in the car to get something signed or to get a T-shirt was incredible. If you knew how many times I said, "Oh, you willing to risk it all? Jump in the car, get rolled over, jump in front of the car." But it's love. It's simply love, and that's what we felt.
Y'all see coaches win championships, and they all immediately look miserable, and they're worried about the next game. This one's enjoying it. So y'all just appreciate that, because I appreciate.
Hey, when you got a talented team like we got, you can enjoy it a little bit.
I want to ask you about a moment that happened right here. All right, so I was out here when Steve Spurrier completely dropped his pass. You made a great rescue catch over here. You remember that moment?
I remember that moment. Here's the thing. I wasn't going to let that ball drop. I put my entire body in front of the ball. I said, not on my watch, not today, not on this field. Too many great football players caught too many great catches. Alshon Jeffries, my guy, good friend of mine, so I had to hold it up for him.
There you go. The Snow Angels, they're legendary. That's the legend right there, y'all.
Yes, it is. Ryan, thank you very much. Congratulations to Dawn Staley and South Carolina for the second national championship. And back to live action. A 40-yard field goal connected on by Alex Herrera moments ago. And Chad Terrell picks up a couple in here as Luke Doty's back on the field. Now for the black squad. And Hudson, this list right here, you talk about some of the all-time greats, college basketball, to have won multiple championships. Dawn Staley's there with 2. Something tells me that's not going to stick there with that number too long.
Yeah, that number is quickly climbing, and it will continue to quickly climb until she gets 3 and starts to chase down Pat Summitt and the legends on that list. I mean, what a start to her career, sustained success. It's been fun to watch for sure.
Coach Beamer's mic'd up with us here in our second quarter. 3rd down and short. And Amos is going to pop it out. He'll pick up the first down. Coach, you were in Minneapolis for the Final Four, and what was the experience like for you up there?
Cold. It was great to get back down here into SEC country. I know that when I got back the next day, but no, it was a awesome experience just to be there. I mean, anytime you get a chance to watch your school, the team you love, win a national championship, it was awesome just to be up there and share it with so many Gamecocks. I've got such a great relationship with Coach Staley and so thankful to be able to work at the same school as her. I mean, to be able to pick her brain and learn from her and along with the other fantastic coaches here. I got an athletic director that won 2 national championships as a baseball coach, so it's fantastic, and that was an awesome time up in Minneapolis for sure for my family and I.
Marion Brown on the jet sweep, stopped by B.J. Gibson.
Coach, I'm curious, in a game like this, you typically want to try to feature something, whether that's the pass game or anything. Is there anything you kind of came into the game that you really wanted to kind of feature?
Not really. I see that our offensive coaches are wanting to feature the pass as much as we're slinging it around here.
It's not exactly 50-50 right now.
No, it's not. There's a heavy pass run imbalance. But no, the biggest thing, I just wanted to see us operate. And you know, you get a lot of those spring games where you have certain rules about formations you can be in or defenses you can call. And we don't. I mean, we're just letting it play. You know, our defense is free to do anything they want. Same with the offense. And don't get me wrong, we're smart about it. We're not trying to show everything because we realize this thing is on television, but we also just want to let our guys go play. And this is it's the spring game, but it's also our 15th spring practice, and we got a lot of work to do and got to get better.
Eric Shaw picks up 12 to keep the drive alive. Coach, you talked with us about continuity up front with your offensive line yesterday, and these guys, it looks like that they're trending in the right direction, but they played a bunch of football. That matters in this conference, right?
No, it does. There's so much continuity with that group. I mean, we didn't lose a single offensive lineman off last year's team, and you know, to be able to have that entire group back, they're an older group, veteran group that's played a lot of football together. They've had an awesome spring. I mean, we haven't through 15, just being practice number 15, I mean, we haven't had an offensive lineman miss a day of practice yet. They're a tough group, they're a physical group, and doing a great job leading our offense right now and helping Spencer and our other quarterbacks.
Marshawn looks really good, getting downhill, fresh for the first time. How much conversation have you had with him about just trusting that knee?
Yeah, as soon as he has a lost yardage play,
I jinxed him. Bye-bye. Yeah. They're putting a 20 in the. I'm putting a 20 in the fine jar right now.
Yep. 2 downs. No, he's been great. 2 downs. He's been great. You know, he may tell you otherwise. In 2021, he was never 100% healthy. I mean, he was still knocking that rust off, and wasn't the Marshawn Lloyd that everybody saw in high school. He's had a great spring. He's really worked with a purpose. He looks faster. He looks more explosive, and continuing to, you know, realize what a load he is and how physical a running back he is. You know, he's a tough guy to tackle, and I'm excited about all these running backs. Rashad Amos, who you just saw, Juju McDowell's had some nice carries. 2 transfers in Christian Beal-Smith and Lavassier Carroll, and it's an exciting group.
You just decided, I heard you say 2 down territory right now for the fans. I mean, you're telling your offensive coordinator on a game day that, hey, they're on 3rd and 4. You want to go for it on 4th down. Kind of walk us through at that place in the field and this situation during a game day, why that would be 2 down territory.
Yeah, for us, it's, you know, you're maybe a little bit outside of punt range or too far to punt, and the net would not be all that great, even if you did punt it. And then maybe it's outside field goal range, and a lot of times,
Chad Terrell picks up the touchdown.
That's why.
Times just to be aggressive, you know, and you're in that field position where you got momentum, when you got your defense on their heels, and we're always going to be aggressive. There's probably a lot of fans that felt like I went for it on 4th down too much last year, but, you know, we're always going to be aggressive. But what a play by Chad Terrell. I mean, you talk about a guy that he didn't play last year for us. An older guy in our program, I think he's in his 5th year, in our 5th year, in his 5th year, and was a receiver at the beginning of the spring. We told him, you know what, you need to come out here and play some tight end, and he's turned into a tight end, had a phenomenal spring, and really proud of that kid and what he's done.
Coach, thanks for spending some time with us. We enjoyed it here in the 2nd quarter.
Yep, absolutely. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here.
Shane Beamer, year number 2, off and running in Columbia. Mitch Jeter with the point after touchdown. Chad Terrell, a couple of torn ACLs. He's healthy. He looks pretty good. Black leading the Garnet 10-3, 6:10 to go in our first half. Hudson Mason, Roy Philpott, Ryan McGee, head coach Shane Beamer joining us for the majority of this second quarter as well. And good insight there on his philosophy. Third down and medium, plus territory, whether or not you want to roll the dice, try to go for it, and then also, kind of talking us through some of this roster. What were your impressions of Spencer Rattler in the first quarter, what we saw? It appears as if his evening is done, but an impressive start off and running.
Yeah, I saw conviction in throws, and that is typically a really good indicator of a quarterback knowing where to go with the football pre-snap and having a clear understanding of what his rules and his reads are. And we saw different types of throws. He had a really nice wheel route throw to Christian Beal-Smith early in the first quarter. We had the deep ball throw, I believe it was to Antoine Wells on a second progression. Got off his first read, bought a little time in the pocket, and then drove the ball down the field. So I think it was 4 for 6. Not that we care about stats in spring games.
Oh, we can't.
Oh, the stats are everything, right? 4 for 6 for 46 yards. And I think we knew kind of coming in that they wanted to showcase him a little bit, but more importantly, get him out and keep him healthy.
KJ Scott had the punt block there, and that will draw an in-depth conversation with Coach Beamer and his specialists as they were working through some punt drills as we welcome you back here inside of Williams-Brice Stadium. And we told you about Deebo Samuel in the house, and South Carolina certainly, if you look at the receiving core going into 2022, we're not going to see Dakereon Joyner tonight. He's a player, according to Marcus Satterfield, that could kind of shift into multiple roles in multiple position rooms, and there are 3 Carolina greats right there on the field.
Yeah, and you mentioned Deebo Samuel. When you think about some of the all-time greats at that position group here, certainly he comes to mind. Alshon Jeffrey, I think coming into this game in the spring, that was really the one concern I think I have for this.
Who's going to catch
this team? Right. More importantly, like, who's going to be their primary #1 guy, right? Like, this is a league where you have to have an alpha male out wide, and specifically out wide that can prevent one high safety scheme looks and teams from loading the box on you. And I think they've got some really good pieces. I think it's still kind of TBD that they've got a guy that can be a premier #1, take the top off the coverage. Love what Dakereon Joyner did last year kind of in the slot. Can Antoine Wells be that guy as he's transferred from James Madison? A lot of talk about Xavier Legette and what he's done this spring, Amarian Brown. So I think that's still a big question mark.
Well, Brown, the speedster, the transfer from Georgia Tech, 11 catches, 104 yards last year, and it felt like maybe he took a massive step forward this season. I'll go back to what Spencer Rattler told us yesterday. It was right out of the gate, who have you developed that close tie with in terms of pass catchers? Immediately, Juice Wells, a transfer from JMU, wearing number 3 tonight. And I think that's a guy to watch. And let's see, okay, can you make that transition from an FCS powerhouse into the SEC where you can come in and be a difference maker right away?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And Josh Vann, obviously atop of that list. He's got his top 2 receiving threats aren't playing tonight. Jaheim Bell, who had a great bowl game, and then Dakereon Joyner, who was the MVP of the bowl game. So those 2 guys aren't playing tonight. And, obviously that's good and bad because you want to build chemistry with those guys, but what it's forcing him being Spencer Rattler to do is just build that chemistry with some of these other guys, because surely throughout a season guys will have nicks and knacks and bruises and other guys will have to step up. I think with Spencer, the thing that's impressed me the most is no matter what receiver group is out there, a 2 or 3 receiver, he's making plays, and certainly he's letting those DBs on the other side of the ball. Him and Cam Smith have had some pretty good back and forth this spring.
Yeah, Coach Satterfield and Shane Beamer joked with us yesterday how Zeb Nolan came off the staff onto the field, and he did an admirable job. The numbers certainly support that a year ago. But now you've got Rattler as your starter, Luke Doty as the backup. And if you're a Carolina fan watching now, I think you feel very comfortable and very excited about what's to come with this new quarterback room you have.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think I would be really excited about what Marcus Satterfield, the creativity he can have with some packages this year coming up. Dakereon Joyner can still do some things at the quarterback position. You could bring in the athleticism of Luke Doty. So a lot to work with there.
And Rattler's back on the field. Swing pass is caught. McDowell going to cross the 30 and pick up positive yardage. 7, maybe 8 there for 21 in Garnet, and give him 8 on the play. Let's just sit back and watch Rattler go back to work, and it is different. You see him checking the play call with the armband Totally different than what he did in Oklahoma running Lincoln Riley's offense. But he came to Carolina because of the pro-style attack. He said it's the Rams offense. It will get him ready for the next level.
It was the #1 thing on his list when he was looking at what school he was going to choose was the offense, and he was looking for that pro-style offense that would put more on the quarterback at the line of scrimmage.
McDowell stacked up, or check that, Christian Beal-Smith with a carry.
And to give you an example, I mean, at Oklahoma, the verbiage, a play could have been like ace 95 white cross, right? And he would get the signal, and that's all he would say. He's getting in the huddle now, reading plays that are like, max direct gun trips, rabbit, blah, 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 kill it with two-jet, all these. It's very much more on the quarterback. There's a lot of verbiage. He has to get that, get to the line of scrimmage. The quarterback handles the mic checks. He has to read safeties. Are we running away from safety rotation? So he's picking it up tremendously. And Marcus Satterfield said if there's one thing, he was told to be patient with him from a mental standpoint, and he's blown him out of the water in terms of how quick he's picked up this offense.
First down yardage for Christian Beal-Smith. And that'll move the chains. It's funny because you asked Coach Beamer and Coach Satterfield, what is Spencer's favorite play? And Shane goes right over to the whiteboard and draws it up, a 4-wide receiver set, 4 different routes, and a great progression. Spencer Rattler came in and spoke with us about 30 minutes later. The play was still on the whiteboard.
95 wide cross.
And you told him, turn around, what is that? And he smiled right away. He's like, yeah, that's it.
95 wide cross.
Yeah, love it.
It's a 95 wide cross is an old play with a post over the top, a crossing route by the slot receiver, and then kind of a dig by that third receiver, a curl route. He ran it a lot at Oklahoma.
Check it down to McDowell here, and Juju ahead for a gain of a yard.
I don't think there was a bigger get for any team, my humble opinion, in college football than South Carolina landing Spencer Rattler. #1, because it's the most important position, and you can't win at a high level without an elite player at that position, which we know Spencer is. And I mean, look what Shane Beamer did with a team last year that was really depleted with depth and talent, win 7 games, and imagine what he can do with much more of a competent roster this year.
Play action on 2nd down and whistle dead deep in the backfield. The pressure coming from Alex Huntley. We also saw Jordan Burch with a tackle earlier on this possession, and a lot of expectations for #3 this year for South Carolina and the Columbia native out of Hammond.
Yeah, there sure is. I mean, the Jordans in general, that defensive end position, Burch and Strawn, I mean, you got to have guys that can get to the quarterback on 3rd down, 2-minute drives when you're up a couple points and you need a sack. And Jordan Burch is a guy local from here, Hammond High School. He's the second highest ranked recruit in South Carolina history behind Jadeveon Clowney. So he came in with a lot of publicity, a lot of expectations. And I think the biggest thing for him this year, Roy, is he's finally the main guy who will get consistent reps and snaps.
On 3rd and 8, Rattler throws a pass that is going to be picked off by Keem Green. We'll check that. They're going to rule that as a reception. And on 3rd down and 18, a 16-yard gain. And it was Wells that made the grab. So now 4th and short. McDowell back to work into plus territory.
4th and 3, got the ball on your side of the 50. Is he going for it because it's a spring game, or is that typically what he would do?
Oh, you're going for it.
You're going for it. You don't have to answer in a spring game if you don't get it, but love the aggressiveness. So much of football is analytics, like kind of the analytics that's from baseball that's made its way into football, and they look at the numbers, and seen a lot more teams in college and pro go for it now on 4th down. But obviously got to love the mindset when you're a player, when your head coach wants to be aggressive.
All the way down inside the 45. McDowell to the edge again. And that 2nd gear and that burst has been a difference maker on this drive. Debo Williams the stop, but not before he picked up another 1st down after a gain of 14.
And watch the left side of this line, kind of get a hat on a hat, and he's trying to press it up the middle right there, and McDowell bounces it outside. And early on, the theme was throwing the ball through the air. I think Shane Beamer might have got in the headset of his offensive coordinator, Marcus Satterfield, and said, can we run the ball a little bit? They've started to run it a little bit more. But like I said, I think a lot of people are expecting Marshawn Lloyd, a little bit of Christian Beal-Smith, who's going to occupy kind of that 3rd role in the backfield.
Now, right now, another galloping finish. Christian Beal-Smith, the Wake Forest transfer, gets it done there to move the sticks. 4 seasons at Wake Forest, over 1,800 yards and 14 touchdowns. We're talking about replacing Kevin Harris and White, 2 guys that had a ton of experience and some great years here in Columbia. Rattler, back foot toss, plenty of arm strength. Wells has it, close to another first down. And in fact, that'll move the chains. It'll be 1st and goal.
A lot of Spencer Rattler to Antoine Wells here in the first half. Just soft corner out there to the field. And he's just going to take that Ohio route. The O stands for out route. And that's kind of the pre-snap understanding of where to go with the football in this offense with Marcus Satterfield. He's going to have a lot more options than he did at Oklahoma. Options to get in and out of good plays and bad plays. Options to really work all the way through his pure progressions. You saw him there take the free access, meaning if it's open, let it rip. But we've seen him tonight get off the first read, get to the second, get to the third. Kind of a wide array of different throws that he's going to have in Marcus Satterfield's offense.
You can see the relationship with Wells that Rattler spoke about yesterday. And to the edge, he'll get a nasty stiff arm. Make it 2nd and goal just inside the 5. Craig was on the wrong end of that collision.
Defense has done a pretty good job so far in this game, especially down here in the red zone. They've been pretty stingy. So see what in the world defensive coordinator Clayton White decides to kind of draw up.
Rattler will get the play call in the huddle. Wells rolled out just outside the 5 to make it 2nd and goal from there.
This is an area without a green jersey. Spencer Rattler, you know, you'd love to get his legs involved, but obviously things change when he's in a non-contact jersey.
Under a minute to go in our first half. We'll roll it out for Rattler, buying some time, directing traffic, and steps out of bounds near the 8. Lacerdo applying the pressure. 42 ticks on the clock left and a timeout call. We'll take one with him. 10-3, the Black leading the Garnet. And Spencer Rattler on the move. 3rd down to goal coming up from the 11-yard line. Spencer Rattler on the field. Hudson Mason, what do you want to see?
This is a touchdown or check down situation, meaning it's got to be thrown into the end zone and caught for a touchdown. If there's any gray area, you got to check it down or throw it away.
Christian Beal-Smith, the running back. Rattler looking for the fade. Receivers there, broken up at the last minute, and a penalty marker is thrown. Wells, the intended receiver. And Cam Smith in coverage. We've heard a lot of good stories about Smith this spring, now transitioning.
Pass interference. Defense, number 17. Ball be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic. First down.
Darian Craig whistled for the infraction here, but Smith transitioning from corner to nickel. Not a necessity this spring. We may see him there in that position later this fall.
Craig just doesn't get his eyes around quick enough, and sometimes that's the beauty of the underthrown ball, right? You're giving your receiver a chance to kind of make a play, and the underthrown fade routes right there. Craig just isn't able to get his eyes back and make a play on the ball, and that's a PI every single time.
Well, the penalty makes it 1st and goal again, this time from just outside the 2. Christian Beal-Smith stopped at the 1. As time winds down in our first half. I think if you're a Carolina fan, it's good to see Rattler on the field. 8 of 11, 83 yards. We've seen a variety of different pass calls, 11 passes, and 5 runs or sacks versus that last possession. And this time Beal-Smith to the end zone for the touchdown. He's healthy now. And that's been a difference maker this spring with him and Marshawn Lloyd, not to mention what we've seen tonight from Juju McDowell.
Yeah, it's been a fresh balance, a great sign to see a lot of different running backs getting carries. See the right side of that offensive line, that left guard pulling around and getting a hat on a hat, just the wave, the push. It's hard for any defensive line when you're only a yard out. When that offensive line is moving people like that, really give any resistance, and something tells me that might be the end of Spencer Rattler's night. He was probably over there in the year of Shane Beamer saying, "Hey, come on, man, I want to end at least on a touchdown drive."
Tied at 10. 10 seconds to go in our first half. William Joyce splits the uprights. I thought it was crisp. We heard a lot of conversations yesterday concerning Rattler, 7 and green on your screen right now, that Can everything just operate cleanly when you're looking at getting the play call in, calling the right play, and going through everything we're going to give you? And I think the answer across the board tonight has been yes. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, A+ for me is what I would give him. You haven't seen any delay of gains, which is typically, you know, a byproduct of a guy not being able to get in and out of the huddle, communicated effectively. Guys can't get lined up. I mean, it's been a clean game so far, and I think it's a good sign that he's getting the ball out quickly. He looks in control and in command.
You saw him talking to Wells there. The other phrase he used with us and referring to Wells, the transfer from James Madison, the strength of his hands. And I think that's something to watch this year. He can go up in traffic. He's going to command the football. Did it at one level. He wants to do it in the SEC. Good start tonight. Yeah, 6'1", 205. I mean, a little longer than every other receiver they've got. And I mean, what this guy did at James Madison was incredible. FCS All-American, over 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, all of those school records. Just a question of, can he elevate his game at this level? Could be the final play of the half. And it will be. Marshawn Lloyd. Productive first 2 quarters. We saw Don Staley's national championship team recognize in between quarters some special teams drills, and a fantastic start for Spencer Rattler in his South Carolina debut. A transfer from Oklahoma, and a tie game at halftime. We got a competitive affair here in Columbia.
What's better than a spring game that's tied at half? Drama, baby. Everybody wants their spring game to have some drama, right?
We got it.
We got it.
Checking all the boxes tonight at Williams-Brice Stadium. Halftime coming up. Hear more from Ryan McGee and a lot of the halftime festivities here in the Midlands right after this. Stay tuned. Halftime, so no first half highlights. Hudson Mason, Roy Philpott back with Ryan McGee, who is with Coach Shane Beamer. And hey, the quarterbacks, Ryan, are going to be live in this second half. That's going to be fun to watch.
Hey, Coach, we got live quarterbacks in the second half. What's going on here?
We got live quarterbacks. We've been doing this the last every scrimmage this spring, to be honest with you. You know, Spencer Rattler and Luke Doty, I mean, they've played some football. They've been in college games. Colton Gauthier, as a freshman, was here last year, but he only played in 1 game. We got Braden Davis, our other freshman quarterback, fresh out of high school. Just for the speed of the game and understanding that they can't sit in the pocket all day and hold on to the ball, it's been good for them. You know, our defense is smart about it, but they've had some great scrambles, and it also makes it easier for me because I don't have the defensive guys yelling at me that they think it's a sack, and the offensive guys yelling at me because they think it wasn't a sack. You know?
See, now you know what it's like to be an official.
Exactly.
That's it. No, but yeah, guys, we got live quarterback play down here at Williams-Brice.
Colton Gauthier, live quarterback #1. That means he's got a chance to actually be tackled as opposed to the 2-hand touch or in the area, so to speak.
If you were looking for any reason at all, there's multiple reasons to come to a beautiful spring game on a beautiful night in Columbia, South Carolina. It's because in the second half, the quarterbacks are going to be live, baby. That's priceless.
Lloyd picked up 8, and now it's 3rd down and 4. After Terrell was tackled in the backfield. Swing passes there. Lloyd, the cut, the explosiveness on display, and that's enough to move the chains. Well, Marshawn Lloyd already looks different compared to a year ago with what we've seen.
Yeah, just trusting that knee. The coaches said that was really the biggest thing. He took the knee brace off last year, but still had trouble trusting it. But look at some of the open field missed tackles here. There's one. I mean, it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and if he gets tackled right there, they're punting. But this is what he brings to the table, elusiveness and open space, and it's exactly why a lot of people are really excited about the running back room led by him.
Yeah, Ware had the missed tackle there to give Lloyd the first down, and the drive continues. Gauthier, freshman out of Bethlehem, Georgia, redshirted a year ago. Marcus Satterfield told us yesterday, elite arm talent. They like what he brings to the table in that department. Amos, the running back, Morton makes the grab, 81, and he's tackled well behind the line by Joseph Burns.
Gauthier's a big kid, 6'3", 217. When you stand next to him, you don't feel like you're standing in the presence of a freshman quarterback who's only about 18 years old. And, you know, for freshman quarterbacks, there's the pre-snap execution and the post-snap execution. And where Colton is, pre-snap is as far ahead and as good as any freshman quarterback that Marcus Satterfield has ever been around. He says he understands the why better than any 18-year-old he's been around. Understanding and executing post-snap once the ball's in his hand will eventually come with time and reps.
Clean pocket. Coxon fires, and the pass is going to be intercepted. And the first turnover that we've seen. And Burns, Joseph Burns, a redshirt freshman out of Camden High School, with the pick.
This was an area that Clayton White's defense was really good. Like #1 in the SEC last year in forcing turnovers. And it's a main reason why they got to 7 wins. And here's an example of kind of what I was talking about with a young quarterback and his receiver just not being on the same page. This is just typical of, young quarterbacks needing those reps. What I talked about, post-snap execution, eyes are in the right place, but him and his receiver are not on the same page.
Tied at 10. Garnet team will take over in plus territory. And another new quarterback to tell you about. Shane Beamer mentioned Braden Davis. He'll get the call here. And straight ahead, they'll keep it on the ground. Stop at the 36. And that'll be Juju McDowell. McDowell, we mentioned that different gear we saw in the first 2 quarters. That's your third-team running back this fall. I think you feel pretty good about the hand you've been dealt in the backfield.
Yeah, one of the fastest guys on the team, regardless of what position. You'll see him play probably some special teams, return some kicks. He gets an open space. There's very few people that can track him down. But like I said earlier, I think for him it's about just proving that he can be a consistent, reliable first down, second, and more importantly, third down back in pass protection.
Handoff. McDowell spins his way for first down yardage. Garnet team in the first half. The transfers we're talking about, Rattler, Beal Smith, and Wells, put up solid numbers from what we saw.
Yeah, 8 for 10, 80% completion for Spencer Rattler. He was a 70% completion passer at Oklahoma. And there's narratives all around Spencer Rattler. Most of them, if not all of them, are absolutely false. But it is, and what happened with him at Oklahoma is the quintessential example of quarterbacks get too much praise at times and they get too much blame at times. And they were not great around him last year, and he was thankful to get out of a toxic situation. But it's crazy how a guy who threw for 4,500 yards, Roy, in 2 years and completed 72% of his passes for a premier team like that can get benched and blamed by the outside. I mean, those stats are unbelievable. You complete 70% of your passes in college football, you're going to lead the country, probably.
As a conference championship winning signal caller in the Power 5, in the Big 12 at Oklahoma, that last pass caught by Leggett. And it'll be 2nd down and 6. And he used the word toxic in talking with us about what happened out in Norman. He's talked about that with the local media here. That's really no mystery. Lassier Carroll, the new running back, another transfer, this one from Georgia, and spun down near the 20. Peyton Williams able to bring him down. Let's see where they mark it. That should be enough to move the sticks, and it is.
Lavassier Carroll, interesting story. A kid who was highly recruited out of IMG Academy in Florida and originally went to Georgia and ended up changing positions, ended up playing DB at Georgia, enters the portal, comes over to South Carolina. Now he's back at the running back position where he first started in high school. So, raw, but again, a guy with great top end speed. You can use him in the pass game, got really nice soft hands. It's just about kind of learning the running back position over for him.
And a penalty marker on the field. Enough of me and Hudson. Let's check in again with Ryan, who's got coach with him side by side.
DB at Georgia and wanted to be a running back.
Yeah, guys, coach is killing me down here because, my knees hurt because he's making me run around it. He just let me know that Davis here, his dad is Ancone Davis. I went to college with him. Am I covering the kids of the dudes I went to college with now, Coach?
You're covering the kids, and I'm recruiting the kids. I had a guy in my office yesterday. I played with his dad at Virginia Tech, and he brought his son on a recruiting visit yesterday. So we're getting old, but now Braden's going to be a good young player. Won a state championship in Delaware last year as a senior in high school, and then immediately enrolled at Carolina. Has gone through spring practice, so he's got great size and can run the ball well too.
Well, his dad Antone was an All-American lineman at Tennessee when I was in school. One of the original 300-pounders. So son's a little slimmer, but he's a big dude.
Now, Ryan, thank you very much. You see Braden, Delaware Gatorade Player of the Year as a senior, already on campus, 6'6", 198. You know he's going to grow into that frame, Hudson.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you get to a strength program in the SEC. Over 4 or 5 years at Georgia, I ended up putting on 20, almost 25 pounds. So
good weight, or are we talking about like freshman 15?
Great rate.
Great weight.
Great weight.
Yeah.
Like, 1% body fat. I'm winking in the booth. No, but they'll put good weight on him, and he'll eventually turn into a big, tall, strong kid.
How about the arm strength there towards the end zone? And that's a touchdown. Trayvon Kenyon from 25 yards out. Monroe, North Carolina native, now a redshirt junior. You got some tight ends on this roster. I don't know that they're as deep as they want to be. Jaheim Bell can play tight end or receiver. How about the toss and then the finish here to get into the end zone?
Yeah, let's talk about the throw first. You could see how Braden works back across the field, which tells me that that was not his primary read. And that's the biggest challenge for young quarterbacks. Sometimes that clock, that internal clock in their head, goes off a little too quickly and they try to escape the pocket. He got off his first read, found his tight end back in the middle of the field. And then you talked about the tight end position. Trayvon Kenyon, he brings a lot of depth, transfer from Wake Forest.
Well, was a defensive end and a wide receiver back in the day in high school. Great finish for the touchdown. Well, the Garnet back in front of the Black. 3:31 remaining in our third quarter. Hudson Mason, Ryan McGee, Roy Philpott, and another look at Colton Gauthier. 4 for the Black team. That last touchdown pass caught. A great route by Kenyon. Amos, the running back, and bottled up deep in the backfield at the 20. Well, they blew that play up from the get-go. Terrell Dawkins. First time we've really talked about him tonight, the transfer out of NC State.
Yeah, he did transfer from NC State, as opposed to the mistake I made about Trayvon Kenyon, who did not transfer from Wake Forest. Went to Wake Forest High School, so I apologize about that. But what an impressive bull rush right there by Dawkins. Kind of read and react. And the challenge as a defensive end is, you got to have some awareness, whether it's a passing down, running down situation. He obviously knew it there.
His dad, of course, played in the NFL with the Steelers. The bloodlines are there. Production was solid in Raleigh and now in Columbia. It's a new world order when you're talking about collegiate athletics and the transfer portal. I mean, look, South Carolina's probably going to make some additions as spring practice ends going into next month. That possibility is there for schools around the country.
Yeah, it's a good point. May 1st essentially has turned into this free agency, the beginning or the end, really, of free agency in college football, because you have to have your name in the portal in order to play in 2022. So I'm sure, like every school, Shane Beamer and them, they may have some players leave and they may add even more.
A swing pass under duress. Amos going to be tackled behind the line. That's a loss of 2. And Dawkins again coming up clutch. So you love to see that. You're talking about your guys in the front 4 for Clayton White's defense, and Terrell Dawkins, NC State transfer, just a redshirt junior out of Concord, North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Jordans at the defensive end position earlier, but they're going to ask a lot of Dawkins this year. It's a little bit of a thin position, so he adds some depth there, plus D1 college experience. But in his defensive line group, lost 2 really good guys last year in Aaron Sterling and Kingsley Agbari. So they're going to need all hands on deck.
17-10, $1:38 remaining in our third quarter as we step aside. 1:38 remaining. Shane Beamer starting year number 2 officially tonight at the Garnet and Black Spring Game inside Williams-Brice Stadium. And of course, the home field advantage, something you certainly want to take advantage of this fall when you look at SEC games here in Columbia. Well, some interesting games to start with. Georgia and Texas A&M, the defending champs, coming to town, Hudson.
Yeah, that home schedule is a tough one. Obviously, Georgia and Texas A&M, Missouri, and what will Tennessee look like in year 2 with Josh Heupel? And they did some impressive things. You look at the SEC East landscape, I think that second spot.
Who's it going to be?
Right, really wide open. Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina.
Swing pass. Stopped at the 30. And Lavoisier Carroll pick up 5 yards on first down. Yeah, I think the number 2 spot, Georgia, the defending champs. We saw their spring game G-Day earlier today in Athens. They're going to be the favorites again. We understand that. The mailman returns. But after that, you like what Josh Heupel did in year 1 in Knoxville. They built their brand. Tennessee comes to Columbia this year, a little bit of a different animal coming into this environment if you get off to a good start compared to last year when you had to go up to Knoxville. And Carroll bolts ahead. And a penalty marker has flown. What's Florida going to look like this year under Billy Napier in his first season?
Holding, offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
I think that's a big question mark, and I don't know if Florida's going to be a team that can contend for second East. Maybe they blow us away. I think they got a really talented quarterback in Anthony Richardson. But right now they've got a little bit of a roster management problem with numbers. A lot of players left when Dan Mullen left, and so, which is typical. Anytime there's a coaching change, a lot of players leave to go on and play other places. So they've got a little bit of a depth problem right now. I think there's still a big question mark on what Florida can be in year one.
And the Gators came to Columbia last November 6th and came out of here with a loss to the tune of 40-17. Jake Helfrich stepping in at quarterback. And of course this year game against the Gators on the road November 12th. And a schedule on the road. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be favored against Vanderbilt, I would think. That Kentucky game, I think, is one that Carolina fans have circled. The Wildcats have kind of gotten the best of the Gamecocks going back 6 or 7 years now. That's a game, if you get, all of a sudden you start to leapfrog some teams, and I think that's a game that's going to be gettable.
No doubt. And the Arkansas game, I believe that's week 2 of the season. That'd be a big game. Sam Pittman has really flipped the script and done a tremendous job at Arkansas.
Fourth quarter here at Williams-Brice. Coming up next, Garnet team out in front of the flag by a touchdown. Start of our fourth quarter, Garnet team leading the Black 17-10. There's a look at South Carolina wide receivers coach Justin Stepp, one of the top recruiters in the country with stops at Arkansas and SMU before now his second season in Columbia, doing a great job. Hey, look, helped coach Josh Vann to the season that he had a year ago, a record-setting season, the fifth-year senior now this campaign. And certainly a coach to watch in the coming seasons. How about Helfrich dropping it right in the bucket? Peyton Mangrum reels it in.
What a throw by Helfrich, not only to keep his eyes in the middle of the field from the safety from getting over there, but Peyton does a really nice job of what you call holding his line and not drifting over toward the sideline. A receiver needs to give that quarterback a couple yards to place that ball in the outside shoulder and drop it in the bucket. It's a really nice throw, but a really, really fine job by Peyton to hold that line and give his quarterback room to drop it in there.
Well, Helfrich, a great story as well. First off, you love a quarterback wearing the number 28.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And secondly, you know, he had heart surgery after his arrival that helped correct a condition going back since he was born. As Kenyon going to pick up another nice gainer. Stopped at the 22. Helfrich, walk-on out of Charlotte and Providence High School. Certainly an easy player to root for. But the number 28, I mean, sign me up for that.
Look, he leads a touchdown drive right here. Maybe I'll start a petition to get him a quarterback number. Or maybe he just wants to wear 28.
Just keep the number 28.
Like Stetson Bennett at Georgia started, I think it was number 22 when he got to Georgia.
Bobby Fuller wore number 20 here, if memory serves me correctly, back in 1990-ish. The Appalachian State transfer came on board with Sparky Woods back in the day. And a handoff left side this time, crossing the 20. That was Carroll. Nick Barrett with the tackle. Carroll, the transfer from Georgia. Hudson Tolge played a little cornerback and running back. And coming down to Columbia, settling in on the offensive backfield. But you got a log jam of backs back there. You got Lloyd, Bill Smith, Juju McDowell. We've seen a lot of Amos tonight. We haven't seen Harris Wainick. DJ Twitty got some snaps. Bradley Dunn also in the Gamecock backfield this year.
Stand next to Rashad Amos, man. I mean, he's 6'2", 230. You would think he's a linebacker that moved over to the running back position. So big and physical. I really like the kind of just diversified backs. They've got speed. They got really a little bit of everything they can utilize.
As a player, did you take the spring game seriously, like especially your first time or two out, like a Spencer Rattler tonight making his debut? Was it a big deal?
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when you're trying to not only break in with new chemistry and build reps, like in Spencer's case, but even if you're a number 2 quarterback like Luke Doty, or, you know, a guy fighting for kind of that third-string quarterback position like Gauthier Davis, I mean, every rep is being evaluated, and every rep counts. And the beauty about spring games that's different from 14 spring practices is this is kind of like a game day environment, especially for the younger guys who in high school never played in as big of a crowd as this. So some guys show up in front of the lights and some guys don't. And I think the coaches really are aware of that.
Quarterbacks are live. You love that there, as Helfrich will be tackled as he breaks past the line of scrimmage, maybe 2 or 3 yards on the game. And that'll bring up 4th down.
It's been a good night for the kickers. They've had their opportunity to really, as there's a competition going on to replace Parker White. They had a fair share of some pretty good, healthy, long kicks.
Donovan Westmoreland involved in that tackle as Mitch Jeter checks back in. It appears to be a 34-yard field goal attempt. Announced attendance tonight, 20,671. And from the left hash, Jeter made one from 47 earlier in this ball game. And he'll make this one from 34. Now the junior out of Salisbury, North Carolina, Cannon High School, getting it done. Trying to replace a legend in Columbia and Parker White. What a debut for Spencer Rattler. And we saw him direct a couple of drives in that first half.
Yeah, I love that throw. I thought that was the best of the day. Why? Because he's under center, which is something he didn't do a whole lot at Oklahoma. But you can see the ball comes out quick. We talked about the attribute, which I think is the best, is quick hands. Ball comes out quick. He can ad-lib inside and outside of the pocket right there. Nothing's open. He turns what, you know, most quarterbacks would be a sack or a throwaway into a positive gain and a positive pickup. And I thought he's looked really, really decisive tonight.
Quarterback number 29, Hayden Lee, checking in. And the redshirt sophomore out of Dorman High School in Roebuck, South Carolina.
Go back to that throw I was talking about where he was under centers. Coach Satterfield told us that he has transitioned really well for a guy that really never took any snaps under center.
Not easy to do, as silly as that sounds.
It is not easy to do. And playing in Mark Richt's system at Georgia, we were under center a lot. And I can just tell you, the ball handling, the mechanics, turning your head on play pass stuff, it's not easy to learn.
Gauthier checks back in. Deep ball is broken up by Anthony Rose. In terms of on the ground this fall, how effective do you believe Spencer Rattler can be? He's added some good weight. I don't think he's done. I think he wants to add a couple of more pounds of some of that good weight. What's your expectation there for him on the ground?
Could he be a 300, 400-yard rusher?
Sure.
I think he could.
That's in the wheelhouse.
It absolutely is. I didn't think at times Oklahoma utilized his legs enough. He's very sneaky athletic, and what I mean by that is like inside the pocket. He can make guys miss. Very subtle movements. He knows how to just make subtle movements, keep his eyes down the field. So he told us he thought he got tackled too easily last year.
How about DJ Twitty off and running all the way down in plus territory, bullies his way to the 46. And that's a gain of 19 yards. It was kind of a methodical run. That'll move the chains. Black team trailing the Garnet by 10. They got to hustle here.
Yeah, they got to get a no huddle.
Well, we got a gain to win. Twitty this time around the left side. Spins his way for a gain of 4. Stopped at the 44 by Tariq Johnson.
Speaking of a game to win, right? I mean, there's always something on the line.
It's like a steak dinner, or who knows what it is.
Is it beanies and weenies versus steak?
Yeah.
We need to figure that out. I don't know if Ryan McGee has propped his feet up for the night.
Gauthier sacked all the way back near the 48. Terrell Dawkins with the tackle, and that's a loss of 7. A big play for the Garnet.
Dawkins in again, been really active tonight. TFL earlier in the game, again here.
Well, we were talking about Spencer Rattler. Ryan McGee hustling on the sideline. Has him right now. Ryan.
No one was more excited to watch these dudes play right now than Spencer Rattler. So assess your night for me, buddy.
You know, had a good few drives, you know, getting the flow down, getting the chemistry right with my guys. You know, we got a lot of work to do, but I thought we did some good things. But, yeah, like you said, I'm loving watching these other guys get in and make big-time plays.
Well, and we're talking about chemistry. And, listen, it's got to be tough walking into a locker room with a lot of guys that have played together. I didn't see a lot of chemistry issues just now. How's that going for you?
Oh, no. It's going great. I mean, they accepted all of us transfers, you know, in very well, and we've just blended real well with everybody.
All right, tell me about this new frame you're carrying, man. It's the first time I've seen you since I saw you. And Norman, you look bigger now.
Yes, sir. No, I put on about 10, 12 pounds since I got up here. Realized that SEC weightlifting program's no joke, so they're getting me right for sure.
Yeah, they feed you right. I also give you free hats.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good, guys, in that Gamecock logo right there.
Yeah, he came in yesterday, and that was the first thing we all noticed as a crew.
Thank you.
The size difference and the overall thickness. And it is noticeable. Another thing he told us, you know, he arrived here in January. Roughing the passer.
Automatic first down.
And DeAndre Martin, the guilty party that time, the freshman defensive end out of Durham, North Carolina. But Spencer told us, you know, when you get here and you transfer in, you don't come in and just automatically announce to the team that you're the guy. And it's not just that he blended in. He waited for his turn, leadership by example, that kind of approach. And then I think all the rest of the team saw what he did those first couple of spring practices. Ball comes out quick. It's not coming out late. The arm strength is there. He's a dual threat player. All that adds up to, hey, the locker room accepted him almost right out of the gate. And a lot of that was based off maybe what he didn't do in announcing his arrival in Columbia.
I think they embraced him even quicker because he didn't force himself on the guys.
Incomplete. Twitty unable to corral that pass. A little zest on it. Quickly second down and 10.
Second. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Make it first and 15. And Coach Beamer even talked about the additions, Rattler, Beal Smith, Wells. And it's not just you come in and you just take everything over. And I think it's been interesting to see how smooth all of that has gone. And look, you come out and you win a couple of games, it's going to be even smoother, if you will.
They knew who he was. You know, he's Spencer Rattler. You know, just when he walks in the building, the confidence and the energy that he gave to the rest of the team, not just offense and on defense.
Gauthier fires a pass down at the 4 and incomplete. Omega Blake, the intended target. After spring practice ends tonight, you fast forward to May. We talked about the deadline May 1st, the transfer portal for guys that want to be eligible to play this fall. Spencer, from what we understand, will go back to Arizona, work out with his quarterback's coach, and continue get ready for the season. And I would assume return back to Columbia for summer workouts as those get underway really soon. I mean, it's not that far away. You're talking about the end of the semester. Those summer workouts are so important in terms of chemistry. I think a big foundation has been constructed already in that department this spring. You look at the roster, and you got a pretty strong number of super seniors, the grad transfers, all in all. You're looking at 29 players that have significant experience, plus the 26 juniors.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Shane Beamer about it before the game, and they actually they're a little over the scholarship limit right now. So they've got a little bit of a juggling act to handle after spring is over as far as scholarship players and you know, how to get down under the mandatory scholarship limit. But I did ask him if there was one position that he thinks he probably still needs to add to post-spring, and he said tight end and D-end. So interesting to see what he decides to do there.
Isaiah Norris, the hard hit of Twitty, but it was still enough to move the chains. And from 25, Gauthier with Harris Waynick now the running back. And more Laundry on the field.
False start. Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Eric Shaw, the wide receiver.
This is so typical of, you know, a younger quarterback being in. And I'm not putting the blame all on the quarterback, but every quarterback has a different cadence, right? Like a veteran quarterback, Spencer may be ready. He said, "Hut," and that O-line is ready to that, is used to that. As a different quarterback comes in and Draw another PI caller. Another quarterback, younger quarterback may come in and the tempo and the cadence in which he operates with may be a little different. That's typically why you see some of those false starts.
And Justin Stepp talking with his wide receiver, Eric Shaw there. Gauthier is going to come in and sling it. He's not afraid to take some shots.
Yeah, you got to love that about him. A lot of quarterbacks come in and they get these big eyes or deer in headlights type look, especially in an environment like this.
Pass interference. Defense, number 23.
It was Norris.
Place of the spot of foul. Automatic first down.
Now, Gauthier in high school passed for over 6,500 yards and 61 touchdowns. Also played a little baseball and had 17 rushing touchdowns in his career. So he brings that element to the table a little bit.
It's a good evaluation moment for here. They'll go back and watch this tape with them. You know, down 10. Let's say this is a real game. You're back. If you score a touchdown or a field goal here in a real game, I mean, you're back in it.
Backwards pass. Twitty collects it and quickly is dropped. Back at the 24. Tyreek Johnson and B.J. Gibson combined to make the TFL.
See Coach Beamer down there. He's trying to keep coaching them. He's saying, let's go. This is really good evaluation. 2nd and long here. 2 and some change left. You're still trying to score a touchdown, if not a field goal.
You're trying to make this a one-possession game. Let's be honest. Gauthier, strong arm on display. And on 2nd and long, Jesse Sanders escapes down to the 15. Ronnie Porter escorted him out of bounds. 3rd down and manageable upcoming.
Yep. And as a young quarterback here, you're thinking, okay, it's 2 minutes. I'm down 10. Most importantly, I've got to have an attempt at a field goal. I can't put the ball in harm's way here.
And manageable considering it was 2nd and really long. Now 3rd and 11. Dump off to Twitty. And sandwich between 2 defenders. Ronnie Porter led the charge again at the 15. So at this point, little strategy. You're going to kick the field goal, try to make it a one-possession affair, right?
Yep. Yeah, he did his job. Led his team down the field. You got it to hopefully a one-score game if they make the field goal. And I don't know if it's against the rules to do an onside kick in a spring game, but
hey, a lot of drama tonight. Ryan, we had some drama here back in the day the last time you were on the sidelines, correct?
Oh, yeah. You guys are talking about getting your workout in the spring game. Talk about craziness in the spring game. How's Steve Spurrier running out onto the end zone? I was the field judge that day. We have one of these deals where they're trying to teach us how to be an official. Of course, my dad was a field judge for 40 years in college football. He worked a lot of Florida games with Steve Spurrier. Coach Spurrier botched the catch. I threw the flag, and Spurrier goes, "What'd you throw the flag for?" And I said, "Because of that BS you yelled at my dad in the 1999 Florida State game." So the McGee's got our revenge against Steve Spurrier out here at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Love to see it. The old ball coach there kind of concerned me for a second. He's twisting, turning, trying to make the catch the back of the end zone. And, boy, those teams he had early part of the last decade, 2011, 12, and 13. Those teams were as good as anybody in the country in those seasons. Connor Shaw, the quarterback, somebody you know very well. He never lost a game here that he started at Williams-Brice, 17-0.
Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, that's one of those things you have to say again out loud. He never lost a game as a home starter. Connor's a stud, great quarterback, even better person. And you're talking about those 11-win seasons 3 years in a row under Spurrier. I remember that. I played here when this place was rocking and rolling, and people always ask me everywhere I go, hey, what's the toughest place to play, right? And I always said, for my time in college, it was South Carolina. I mean, sandstorm, that rooster. I mean, you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
I mean, this place was rocking.
Yeah, I grew up in Columbia. It was like that in the 1980s. The late Joe Morrison was the coach. The Fire Ant defense, Black Death, the flags were flying around. You couldn't hear in this place when teams came in. And a handful of those programs ranked inside the top 5 and the top 10 back in the day, including that magical year of 1984. The field goal was good. And now 2-minute drill here to close things down. Garnet team out in front of the Black by a touchdown. 2nd down and 3 coming up. So again, we've got a little strategy to try to figure out how this thing's going to wind down.
Again, what's your approach here as a young quarterback and kind of your 2-minute, but really 4-minute, because the defense still has some timeouts to burn. The goal is to get 1 first down.
Snap was high for Davis. He'll hop on top of it as quickly as possible. He's going to lose 6, maybe 7. John Darius Morgan, the center.
And now with the bad snap, you go from a chance to get a first down, if not 3rd and short, to 3rd and 10. And You know, the question will be here is
Shane Beamer won't sleep tonight after that, right?
Question will be here is do you want to put the ball in? Obviously, in a game like this, maybe you let him throw it, but if this was a real game scenario, you know, you probably would play it safe here, run it, force the defense to burn another timeout and punt it away and let your defense try to win it for you.
Ryan, what's Coach Beamer thinking about down there?
I don't know. Hey, Coach, it's a little intense down here in the 2-minute drill. You all right? You getting your steps in?
I'm good. I can't keep track of who's calling timeouts, defense, offense. Was trying to get the ball back for the defense right here and simulate a 2-minute drill for the black team if they can try and go tie the game here at the very end. So 3rd down and we're throwing it. We'll see what happens. If he gets that 1st down, that's ball game though.
And he did not.
Hey, shout out to 2 hours ago, boys, when it was all low-key down here and we're just going to have an easy-going night. I just put my hand on Coach Beamer's back. That dude's sweating like he just got some mayonnaise dumped on him.
Make sure you stay close to Coach Beamer, because if they end up scoring a touchdown, he bet not kick a field goal. He got to go for 2, right? We can't end this thing in a tie.
No, I'm telling you, it's there's a lot of yelling and screaming. I haven't been in trouble all night for getting in the way, and now I am. So
here we go.
That's where we are.
Yeah, this is no casual stroll through the Vista, downtown Columbia. This is everything's on the line to wrap up the annual Garnet and Black spring game. Less than a minute to go, clock winding. And the black team's going to have a chance here.
Yeah. All right, so what was that?
I said, what more could you want? You've got a 2-minute offense drill coming up right here to win the spring game. And if we score, we'll definitely go for 2.
Hey, Coach, is this what it's all about? When we say this is what it's all about, is this what it's all about?
This is what it's all about. SEC, it just means more, Ryan. So all this energy and excitement, and it comes down to a 2-minute drill right here for the black team.
He sounds like Spencer Rattler in their training room right now.
Well, you love the energy and the emotion. And now it comes down to number 4 in black, Colton Gauthier. Redshirt freshman, had 1 pass completion last year, and stepping in to this ultra pressure packed moment right now, Hudson.
Hey, young quarterback, man. This is what you asked for as a freshman.
Well, he's got at least 1 timeout to work with. And 44 seconds remaining. The pass incomplete. Eric Shaw in the area. Quickly it's 2nd down and 10. 2-minute drill. What's number 1 on your plate?
Find completions. I think that's the one mistake young quarterbacks do when they get into a situation like this, is they think they have to pick up the big play immediately. 44 seconds left in a timeout in college football is an eternity. The clock stops after 1st down, so don't try to pick up the chunk yards plays if it's not there. Check it down and make the defense tackle your guy.
On 2nd down, Crosser was there with Shaw instead out in the flats. How about 20 makes a man miss, rumbles ahead across the 45.
Got no timeouts.
Coach, this is great for a young quarterback, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome. Colton's got a great arm and is a talented young guy. So, to be able to operate out here in a 2-minute drill under the lights, great opportunity for him.
He likes to heave it deep. He will again. This one incomplete.
And really all these guys. I mean, we got some, freshman defensive linemen out here right now, and true freshman defensive backs out there. So it's great for everybody. The more you can get these situations and as much of a game situation as possible, the better.
He's losing his voice, y'all. I just want to let y'all know the greatest indicator that has gotten intense, Beamer's losing his voice.
Well, I love to compete, so the opportunity to be out here to compete again tonight, it's we talked about it before the game. There's a ton of energy about South Carolina football right now, and there's a ton of energy out here on this field right now, as you can see.
Yeah, like too much energy.
Flag on the field.
They got it, come on, Chance!
That voice is going to be long gone in about an hour, Ryan. I mean, come on. He's
getting
after
that man a lozenge.
Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
I mean, the wheels are turning, Hudson. You can see it in his eyes right now, right beside Ryan down there.
Ryan, can we ask him what's at stake here? Is it beanies and weenies? What does the winner get? What does the loser not get?
You can't take him to the ground. That's going to get called every time.
I think what's at stake is you don't get yelled at anymore.
That's it?
I'm just saying. Yeah. Hey, Coach, what's at stake here? Does the winner get anything?
Bragging rights.
Accolades.
Yep, accolades. We don't do the winter dinner and all that stuff. We talked about it. Really, it's just bragging rights for the summer. Oh. There you go, TJ. You good? Way to see you, man.
Shaw the grab right back near the original line of scrimmage. And Gauthier was taking a face full of a defender right as he released there.
Well, that's the beauty of having the young quarterbacks live, right? Because if he's wearing a green jersey, maybe they call that a sack. That's real football. And that's the value of having, you know, some of these young quarterbacks play with live reps, live bullets, and really, really nice job of him staying in the pocket. You got to take the hit there to get the ball out, but puts him in a little bit more of a manageable 3rd and long.
Ryan, we got a quarterback up here preaching like it's Saturday in the fall right now.
Yeah, you take a hit unless you're the sideline reporter. I almost took one a second ago.
Gauthier heaves one deep, and that's going to be picked off. Intercepted. Joseph Burns, his 2nd of the game, and that'll clinch it for the Garnet squad.
Well, there we found our spring game MVP, didn't we?
Has to be. 43. Joseph Burns, Camden High School, a walk-on, getting it done in the defensive backfield this mid-April evening.
What a nice job by him. That ball was thrown really high in the air, and he even had to flip his hips, turn back around, and track the ball back down near the pylon. And it's kind of that combine drill you see at the NFL where they make you, as a DB, flip your hips. They point the ball this way, you turn, you point the ball the other way, you turn, and then you got to go track it. It's kind of that drill played out in real life.
Well, that ball deep into the Carolina night and picked off by Burnsy. He'll remember this night for a long, long time.
Sorry.
Now, year number 2 of the Shane Beamer era, off and running with a brand new backfield. Christian Beal-Smith, Spencer Rattler. And it was the walk-on Joseph Burns that helped steal the show for the defense. Energy is alive and well in Columbia. Garnet defeats the Black by a final score of 20-13 this evening.
It was a great night. You saw a lot of really positive things, in my opinion, on both sides of the ball, which in a perfect world is exactly what you want out of a spring game. You want everybody to stay healthy. I think to our knowledge, everybody did stay healthy, got out of here clean, and you saw a lot of positive plays on both sides of the football.
Well, Shane Beamer has been awesome with his access tonight, talking with us, talking with Ryan McGee. Ryan, perhaps we can get him for one more thought, just on his thoughts on what's been an outstanding night, I think, for Carolina football.
Oh, yeah, he's gone. No, I appreciate what you think I'm able to do. I've been running around down here for 2 hours. There's no injuries except for my knees. But listen, I want to say this, though. We talked a lot about Spencer Rattler on the field. What I saw during the second half was what Spencer Rattler was doing with this team off the field. My friend Chris Lowe has a great story on ESPN.com today about all the concerns about chemistry, all the stories that we heard out of Oklahoma. And Shane Beamer goes, that's not the kid I know. And the kid I watched during the second half, watching those walk-ons and watching those guys get into the game, it's like you've known them for years. So Spencer Rattler is trying to make that chemistry work, and I'm curious to see what it's going to look like in the fall.
Hey, a day ago, Ryan McGee at Disney World, and here tonight, he's in Columbia, breaking it all down like he's been here all week long. Ryan, thanks. Great job, buddy.
Thank you.
20-13, our final score, and a successful evening here at Williams-Brice Stadium. Garnet over the Black. More importantly, Spencer Rattler, 8 of 10, about 80 yards.
As he's turned into a tight end.
Scoring drives, getting it done this evening in the Midlands. Been a fun night for Hudson Mason. Ryan McGee, I'm Roy Philpott saying so long. The annual Garnet Black spring game in the books here in Columbia, SC.